Heavy snow, blizzard conditions, strong winds, serious and widespread flooding, and a threat of tornadoes. An exceptionally powerful January storm will target the U.S. with nearly every winter weather threat imaginable all this week. Elisa Raffa is with us now in the Weather Center. There you are. All right, 70 million Americans we're talking about could see some of this severe weather. Who is in the path?
It's really going across most of the country, and like you mentioned, we're dealing with every single threat. This is the storm that we were tracking for you yesterday. It dumped up to a foot of snow in most locations, and it is on its way out. Still snowing in Boston right now. This is the one that's right behind it, coming for this week. Doesn't look like much right now, but it's going to deepen. It's going to pack moisture, and a lot of it, especially for this time of year. Here's a look at some of those blizzard warnings in the orange here for parts of Kansas and then the Panhandle of Oklahoma, northern Texas, where heavy snow coupled with the wind will drop visibility. You've got winter storm warnings there in the pink headed up into Omaha. So again, tomorrow packs a punch with that snow on the northern edge from Kansas into Nebraska and Iowa. Then the severe threat, flooding and severe weather along the Gulf Coast. Then all of this moves east as we go into Tuesday. Heavy rain in the southeast, some gusty winds with the snow up in the Great Lakes, Chicago area, and then all of that flooding rain goes to where we just got a foot of snow. So the flooding threat could even include snow melt. Here's that severe risk, 2 days with an enhanced risk. That's a level 3 out of 5. We're looking at a couple of tornadoes, some of which could be strong and damaging winds. Plus, we are looking at that flood threat too, because again, like I said, this area up here is already saturated from the last storm and just got a foot of snow. So
it's a lot.
Lots to track.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's going to be even more. All right, Elisa Raffa, thank you so much. All right, it could be a dicey week ahead for millions of Americans as another winter storm targets large sections of the U.S. Let's go now to Elisa Raffa in the CNN Weather Center. Elisa.
We're not even done with one storm yet, Fred, and we already have the next one on its heels, and that one is multi-hazard. So here's the one we were tracking for you yesterday. Dumped up to a foot of snow in a couple of locations in New England, still snowing in Boston, and now there's one already behind it. You can see it starting to develop and deepen over the Four Corners region here, and it will continue to strengthen as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. It doesn't look like much now, but it's going to pack a ton of moisture, especially for this time of year, and a ton of spin. You can see in the orange where we have blizzard warnings in effect for parts of Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and then northern Texas as well. That's where heavy snow is going to get coupled with gusty winds and dropping visibility. You've got a winter storm warning in effect even into Omaha. So here's a look at the winds. Like I said, it's the winds that makes the blizzard, and those winds really pop here in that area that we have the blizzard warning as we go into the day tomorrow. Then as we head into Tuesday, it takes those winds with us, rain and snow as well. Some of these winds will twist along the Gulf Coast. That's going to give us a severe threat. And then the wind gusts take it into the northeast, into New England, where we could have some 60-mile-per-hour gusts, maybe even 70-mile-per-hour gusts along the coast at the tips of the Appalachian Mountains. And we're looking at 40-mile-per-hour gusts pretty widespread inland, and that could cause some power problems. So here's a look at that severe threat. We have 2 days of that enhanced risk. It's a level 3 out of 5. Tomorrow, the bullseye is along the Gulf Coast, including cities like New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama. And then by Tuesday, it shifts to the Panhandle of Florida, Panama City. We're looking at a couple of tornadoes likely, some of which could be strong, and some damaging wind gusts. On top of this, like I said, it's going to have a lot of moisture with this system, especially considering it's January. So we're looking at multiple inches of snow, getting close to a foot for parts of the Central Plains here. Rain widespread, 2 to 4 inches. Some of those rainfall rates can be up to 2.5 inches per hour as this thing just squeezes out, and that's going to cause a flood threat. By Tuesday, especially up in the New Jersey area, they're already saturated from the last one, and remember, you got a lot of snow up here too now, so snow melt will be a problem as well, Fred.
Oh my goodness. All right, Elisa Raffa, thank you so much. Thanks for the warnings.
All right, in the meantime, millions of Americans in the Northeast are digging out after the first big winter storm of the year. Some spots, like upstate New York, seeing more than a foot of snow. The system even sparking this tornado in Fort Lauderdale. We can show you that. There it is right there. Even as all of this, we should let you know, a bigger storm is right on the heels of that weather pattern we saw over the weekend. Elisa Raffa is tracking it all from the CNN Weather Center. Lisa, this is kind of a 1-2 punch. And here comes the second one, I guess.
Yeah, not so much in the way of time to breathe in between these systems. That tornado that you showed was an EF0, and we could have more of those as we go into the day tomorrow. We've got an enhanced risk from New Orleans to Mobile to Panama City. That's a level 3 out of 5, where we could have a couple of tornadoes, some of which are strong and damaging wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. That's the warm part of the storm. There's also a cold part of the storm where we have blizzard warnings in effect there in the orange from parts of western Kansas and the Oklahoma Panhandle, where you're going to have heavy snow coupled with gusty winds and dropping visibility. And then the winter alerts continue up into Omaha and even up into Chicago. So here's how it plays out. We start out tomorrow with some of that heavy snow already pumping for parts of the Central Plains. You've got the heavy rain and severe storms along the Gulf Coast. All of this moves east going into Tuesday. Heavy rain along the southeast. That heavy snow and the gusty winds continues to pump in the upper Midwest into Chicago. And then we bring that flood threat up into New England, where they have 6 to 12 inches of snow on the ground right now. Again, all of this pumps with some pretty intense winds, gusts of 50 miles per hour. You can see here where you have those blizzard warnings. That's going to blow around that snow. You take the winds to the east. We'll have gusts along the coast here, possible up to 60 miles per hour, maybe even 70 miles per hour in the peaks of the Appalachian Mountains. And then we'll keep the winds continuing to kick in New England, and that could cause some power problems. The severe risk continues going into Tuesday. You see that bullseye then moves to the Florida Panhandle, where the threat continues for a couple of tornadoes as we go through the day there. And then the heavy rain threat. You can see a lot of the heavy rain from the southeast working its way up into New England. We're looking at widespread through 2 to 4 inches, and that could cause some flooding problems. Again, especially for people in New England, you have snow on the ground, so rapid snow melt an issue too, Jim.
Yeah, that is a whole lot of precipitation over, I mean, that's blanketing, what, half, 2/3 of the country right there. What a mess. All right, Elisa Raffa, thank you very much.